Thank you very much for your patience. You are about to watch the part 2 of the business of dead white man's clothing in Ghana. The quality of items imported into Kantamanto has drastically reduced over the years. This is as a result of the growing fast fashion scene in the West. This is the production of one-use style clothing without any sustainable plan or an end use. The fast fashion contributes to about 40% of items that are weekly received from countries like the USA, the UK, China, and South Korea. They have not only crippled the fashion industry in Ghana, but are now destroying our environment and oceans.
Company beer said your name is it here because the company is London, UK, America. Omo say ya na fine. But China no man. Ya na no man have no quality. Materials no any have no strong. But UK let's women tie no. Omo share no. Omo tie no. Omo share man coach e man net dada to say Korea no man. No do share man feel ya daddy. But yes I no plan ya na sent here there. But in UK no America no Holland no man sana.
Fast fashion is a very, very profit-based business machinery. Fast fashion companies barely think about the people in their supply chain, to think about end user, the end user of the product. But in most parts of Europe, they're introducing an EPR policy, which is the extended producer responsibility. And then the idea of this policy is that fast fashion companies or companies in general pay a certain amount of money for the management of the waste that their companies produce after whatever it is that they produce. But what happens here is that even for the few countries that have implemented these policies, the money only stays in those countries. For example, if you think about the clothes that come into Kantamanto, the second clothes that come into Ghana, they'll come from different places around the world, but none of them come with money. It's just the clothes that is coming. And if you think about it, these are somebody's waste that they don't like. It comes in here, and then we, in our own means, in our own resources, try to, manage this waste. No matter how you look at it, it's still waste management. Because if they were really considering or thinking or even adding that to their business model, maybe they wouldn't be producing so much that the world does not even need.
Samuel and his organization, the OR Foundation, have been researching into the impact of secondhand clothing on our environment in the past decade. When asked if the government should take strict measures on the importation of secondhand clothes, this is what he had to say.
The amount of clothing that used to come to Kantamanto 10 years ago compared to now is way different. The quality is low, and then the quantity is higher. So if you have people working in Kantamanto, upcyclers, retailers, dyers, and other people who are working so hard to manage and redirect these clothes from going to waste or going to a landfill or going to a dump site, they're working so hard. It's not because they're not doing enough, because there's just too much coming in that they can manage. So if there's anything that Ghana can do at this point to rectify or manage the situation, is really trying to understand the situation on a global level and then on an entire supply chain level, whereby we understand where these clothes are coming from, where these clothes are going, how they're ending up here, and how to better regulate these things. Ghana only makes visible the problem. None of these clothes are made here. Nobody makes H&M. There are no H&M factories here. There are no Zara factories here. But then all of these clothes, they make them elsewhere. If you think about it, it's almost like a transatlantic trade, where the clothes are made in Asia, they are worn in Europe, and then dumped in Africa. For the government to take any action at all, it really needs to understand the second-hand trade. Generally, it really needs to understand, because if you think about taking stricter rules, and then I guess with that meaning a ban, or a ban or stop to it, that would also mean taking away jobs from 30,000 plus people that work in Kantamanto to make everything that we see or everything that is happening there possible.
For designers like Delhi, A ban would be a dream come true for her business, but that cannot come at the expense of the thousands that have been directly and indirectly employed in the trade of second-hand clothing. Delhi thinks creating a fairer playing ground would be a much more realistic approach to the situation. She thinks her fellow dressmakers and fashion designers should rather prioritize these suggestions in order to remain competitive.
Okay, so recently I saw a question on social media asking what the difference between a seamstress and a fashion designer is. I really didn't take my time to down into the differences, but I think that either way we are all creating something, either way we are all putting something on the table and adding to the local market and producing something. So either way we all have something to add into the fashion industry. So no matter whether you're a seamstress or whatever name you give to yourself, it's important that we do whatever we are doing well. If it's our branding, we should make sure we pay attention to those things. If it's our presence on social media, we should do it and do it well. And also affordability is also important. No matter how, we shouldn't, I don't think we have to place outrageous prices. But then that still goes back to branding. Everybody and what value they put into their works. So whether you make yours very expensive, just know that you are creating something for a target market for everybody to be able to participate in this local market, so everybody can have something to wear from the local fashion industry.
But what if these multi-million companies, whose brands Ghanaians have developed a taste for, decides to set up factories here in Ghana?
To be frank, no obia ni eduma no eni so. So that's no obia ni eduma no so. Obia ni ma eduma wi kura no, o ka so ma kura wontimi ne de enye. Nti se company ba e de we no supporter bitnya eba sa so company be de ebe ba fo. So that's nti eduma ni fo so eduma no hama amanfo bi bre he da enye de eni so. Nti so e de ba ha no na mo unnem pa bibro na bitnya de.
As a Ghanaian, it is no secret what the hunger for Western clothing, fueled by the media dominated by a Western lifestyle, shows us, and the availability of second-hand clothing to satisfy that hunger has done to the local fashion business and the Ghanaian culture in general. The effect cannot be immediately reversed, but as Sami and the OR Foundation suggest, we must understand the details of the second-hand clothing trade in order to control what comes in. For far too long, Ghana's Kantamanto has been but just a dump site for all these Western countries and their companies. The conversation definitely needs the involvement of the governments of all these nations involved in the transatlantic trade. This is the case of Ghana saving not only its culture, but its environment. The future of the local fashion industry looks to be in good hands, with so many talented designers springing up every day. But one challenge they would have to face, or possibly live with, will be the availability and cheap prices of second-hand clothing. Unless something drastic is done to influence the taste for foreign goods, this industry will continue to live in the shadows of the second-hand clothing. Reporting for the Kente Business Journal, my name is Joseph Amwakwata from Accra, Ghana.
Mommy, I didn't know Prekasa natural ginger drink in Kwan or fridge.
Prekasa natural ginger drink, drink on Wasovia Jonan Enterprise. Akofa Abedjaso, what the Yania ye Prekasi, Akekedru, and a hintia, Ashimuma. I want no more to me when it pediano.
Can I get Prekasa? Oh no! Me got Prekasa natural ginger drink. Mommy, 3 bottles of Prekasa natural ginger drink. Prekasa natural ginger drink. Man, no more feel. Where do you sugar be anymore? Sans alcohol be answering. Or be at him.